So one thing that we've been waiting on was the custom, or at least I guess special order, aluminum rails for this deck so that obviously nobody goes off the edge. And they showed up, so we're back here to install those. We also did a cover board here, a fascia board on the front of the porch where it was just a treated board, which obviously we never wanted to leave that. We just didn't know what we were going to do, so we did that today already. We're going to get these rails done. And it's just going to be a black aluminum rail, so I think that'll fit in really good with the decor. And first thing we're going to do is, I don't have my laser distance measurer. I think Greg's got it. We'll get all of our dimensions for each section, and then we'll go cut them inside where it's a little bit warmer, even though, guys, I don't know how I can show you without showing you because you're never going to feel it. The temperature of this building, the thermostat set at 70. And I don't know about you if you've ever experienced a radiant heat before, but a radiant heated floor in a building like this is like nothing that you would ever be used to. If you live in a house with a forced air, maybe an electric baseboard heat might feel the same, but the fact that all that warmth is coming out of the slab, that concrete floor, your feet are warm, 70 degrees is way too hot. In my house, I keep it at 70 and I'm always cold because it's just blowing hot air around. It doesn't really heat the objects versus the radiant floor in this building is just radiating that heat through everything, and it's amazing. So I'm actually feeling really nice out here outside. Greg was just out here in his t-shirt because he was sweating so bad. Hey, you got the laser? Let's get these measurements. I want to make sure we go like 4 inches off the ground, Greg. Grab that dimension.
Yeah. 7'3" and 11/16.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down on this. 7'3" and 11/16. Don't I have a marker? Oh yeah, right here. That's close enough.
7'3.5".
So not too bad. We have a little bit of leeway with this material. Let's see what you got in the middle.
7'6" and 5/8".
Which we know they aren't exactly the same.
7'6" and 13/16".
That's close. Geez, we suck.
Oh, it's a cedar code. They're not perfect.
That's true. Now this should be close to 7'3" and half-ish or whatever.
7'3" 3/8".
Yeah.
7'3" 5'8", 5/16".
Okay. All right. So we got all the dimensions, and we're going to go ahead and cut them downstairs where it's not going to leave aluminum filings everywhere. So these are the aluminum rails, super lightweight, durable. They're going to last. Aluminum is nice for this sort of application, and no maintenance is going to be needed. So that's also a bonus. Pretty lucky here because I thought these were 8-footers. I've got 8-foot post spacings. Thankfully, we have enough rail. I was actually worried when I first pulled my tape measure on this, but we're actually going to be cutting off about an inch and a half off of each end. So you're not going to do that from one side. You're not going to cut the dimension down all on one side. You're going to want to go from the middle out. That way your spacing is equal. And we've got a bandsaw. The blade's right there.
Where?
In the case. Right here. There we go. Yeah, good call. And once we run it, it should straighten it out. Go ahead, load that bad boy up. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's on 1 speed? Let's see. Doesn't need to be super high. Okay, okay. See how this goes, huh? Mm-hmm. I love little bandsaws though, man. That's pretty easy.
Got a little wall on that one.
I'm gonna install this rail here. This is an aluminum powder-coated rail, and what's nice about the aluminum is it's gonna be very low maintenance. We're just gonna set the rail out of the way for now. I've already cut the rail down to size, and I did that by getting my measurement with a laser distance measurer. Greg did that with me. And then I measure from the center out. That way I'm cutting off the exact same on both ends. That way my spacing on my spindles are the exact same. Now what I need to do is mount some brackets. And I want to show you how easy this system is. So it comes with this little hardware kit. And I got this from Menards. I don't even know the brand name. I don't know. I've got a box over there. I could take a look. But I've got these brackets, and I'm going to install them on my post. And I don't need those screws. I'll set the rail in, make sure it's all good and plumb, and then that is it. So what I've got, let me grab this. I cut myself a little block, and what I'm doing is I'm making sure that it's a consistent measurement off the porch. That way, when I put my spacer block in the middle, it's all good to go. And what I've got to do is mark 1.5 inches, because that's the center of my spacer. And then I'm just going to mount this right on that mark. I'm going to use some 2-inch GRK deck screws. Even though it comes with its own little screw, I think these are a little bit, these appear to be a little bit, I think, stronger. They're structural. They're made for outdoors. So that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to get one screw in. I'm going to check it for square on the post, and then I can put the other screw in. I'll do the same thing on this side. Okay, now on this one, it's because it looks like I got maybe something going on here where it's not perfectly flat. I'm going to double check by running square line. I'd say we're pretty much right where we want to be. Just wanted to check. It's always good. I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. I got my line. So what I like to do is just set this right where I think it goes. I'm going to take one of my screws, center it in the hole. If you don't go in center, as soon as you screw it in, it's going to be off. So all right, so now that I got those brackets on, we can go ahead and set the rail on top of these guys. All right, so I'm gonna take this rail, and it's just as easy as bringing it in. I'm gonna set it on those bottoms, push it down. Before we screw the tops in, I'm just gonna step back, and I'm gonna look at it compared to the next one over. In order to be consistent, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches on both sides so I know where the center is. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not centering these in these posts, it's because eventually, probably in the springtime, there's going to be a screen that's installed on the outside edge, making this a nice screened-in porch. So now I'll take my other two brackets, and I'll go ahead and install those centered up on my 1.5 inch mark. Once I get that installed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw, I'm just going to kind of find the midpoint, because you always want to cut these a little loose. And I'm going to screw right into that bracket with the self-tapper. I'll do that on the top and the bottom. And now that we have that installed, it's time to put our covers back on. Hopefully we cut them good. There's a chance that they're going to be tight, which is a good thing. I don't want them to be super loose, but that seems a little too tight for me. Might just have to trim a little bit off. Okay. That's gonna get screwed in. Ooh, burr. Right there. And now we can put our top rail on. Ooh, perfect. Looks good and straight, so I can go ahead and screw the, I'm gonna screw that bracket right where it's at because it looks good. No, no. Oh, I can see it. All right, it's down there. Go grab it. I dropped my screw. But anyway, that I think shows you how easy these go together. You literally cut them to fit, mount your brackets, install them, pop on your top and bottom, and boom, you got a railing. I got one more to do, and then I've got a post to mount in the middle of this 10-foot span. It's a little bit too big for, they don't make an aluminum rail that big. At least I couldn't find any. Oh, that looks great. There we go. So in the interest of getting this done, guys, I'm sorry. It started snowing out. And I've also got snow removal work to do. So I'm trying to wrap this deck up. Not done here completely. I still got to do a little bull nose across the mezzanine. I don't think I'm gonna get to that today, which means I got to come back. I also didn't get enough fasteners for the kitchen poles on the kitchen cabinets. I thought all of them were a 1/4 inch size, but only some of them were. Some of them were the smaller, I don't know, number 10s or whatever they are. So I've got to get some more of those. So I got to come back anyway, but I'm gonna try and wrap up this, this last section of railing. I got one more section of rail to do. I don't know if I'll get it done today, but it's really looking good. You never get the day that you think you're gonna get, I swear. Well, go figure. I knew when I started this project that we might get a little bit of snow that's gonna stop us from completing it. I've got one little section of handrail to do. Greg and I also take care of, actually, believe it or not, this customer's company. We manage their sidewalks, entrances, all of that during the snow season. So when there's snow on the ground, when it starts snowing, we go there and take care of that. So that's a little side thing that we do. Usually it doesn't amount to too much during the year, but I figured when I took that on, if it was snowing, I probably didn't want to be working on buildings, and it just made sense to keep everybody busy. So that's what I got to do now. But as you can see, I got the majority of this handrail done. I think it looks really good. It's sleek, it matches the decor, it's going to be maintenance free, so nobody likes to maintain a set of spindles. Go ahead and mark that location. I'm actually going to cut this down to height before I install it. It'll be a lot easier than when I did the other one in place. And then I can cut my rails. So this is going to cut down to 40 inches. So one of the things that we forgot was or we didn't forget, at the time of building and designing this porch, I assumed that I could do a 10-foot section of aluminum rail. Come to find out, I couldn't order that through my supplier. They didn't have a source that they could find. I'm sure there's somebody out there that does it or would make me a custom one, but we didn't really have the time for that. So what we did was we split up this 10-foot bay with a aluminum post here. And I think it looks good, it's fine. I think it's better than having a cedar post up through the middle. But we didn't have blocking underneath this because it was never a plan to put a post here. So Greg, while I was up here getting things prepped, he pulled the steel panel off and got me blocking in between the two joists that run somewhere right here. And now we're gonna be nice and solid. I still got 2 holes to put in here yet, but what I'm gonna do is leave those loose so that I can plumb this up side to side when I get my bracket installed here, and then I install this section of rail. So now that I have my 2 bottom brackets in, I'm just going to take the rail system. I'm going to set it right on top of the 2 bottoms. And then what I can do is when I install my top brackets, I can use it to plumb this guy up, which it needs to go out just a hair. Okay, so right about there, that's easy enough. Let's get this started. All right, now that I've got that one installed, I'm gonna go ahead and finish lagging in on my bottom post here. Check it for plumb in and out. Looks like I need to bring this front down and lean it in, but before I do anything with shims, I'm gonna go ahead and put my other lags in and see what happens, because sometimes just by putting them in, you're gonna move it one way or the other. Okay. Now I'm just going to snug this one down. Boom. Oh no. Forgot the install kit. Dang it. All right, last thing to do is to put the caps on. Hopefully they're cut good. That one's good. And then I got my bottoms. Same exact thing. Just got to put the cap on. And then we got a base. I'll get my blower up here, get all this cleaned off. There we go. Well, that's pretty exciting because now the rails are done, the exterior is complete, we've got all the interior done now, and I think we can actually call this a finished project. I did get word today that my client, after being in here, you know, and having this property here over this winter period when we've had a lot of snow, as you can see back here on these roofs, we've got a gutter guard to protect the gutters from filling up with limbs and leaves and debris from out here in the forest. But the problem is it doesn't do a good job of stopping the snow from going right over the gutter guard and, you know, maybe forming ice on the sidewalk, or when you're coming in and out of the door, the main door off to the garage, it drips there. So what we're gonna do probably is we're gonna, for one, probably work on getting some sort of a snow bar up on the standing seam roof to stop the snow from coming off the roof and hurting somebody potentially. But also I think we might, back come springtime, we might work on adding a little overhang of some sort on that door. That way when people are coming in and out, there's not any potential drip or snow coming off the roof and hitting people. Probably a great idea, something that, you know, you can't always figure everything out 100% at the beginning. And sometimes as you move through the project, you say, hey, that's probably not a bad idea. And that's probably one of those things that not a bad idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, clean up, and appreciate you guys all hanging out for this build series. It was a lot of videos. It was a long time in, you know, I guess 6 months time is what it took us to do this. And even though that's not that long for some people's projects, that's long for us. And it was definitely something that challenged us, but at the end we can look at it and say, we did that, and it's pretty darn cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up and maybe think about subscribing so you can follow along with future builds. So cool, thanks a lot, guys.